Welcome everyone to the Corona Post Show here on opening day of competition of the Oi Rio Pro presented by Corona. Today we're going to go through all the big highlights of a lot of big wildcard performances here at Saquarema, and it's been a long wait to return to Brazil. Last time we were here was 2019 for the championship tour that saw Filipe Toledo and Sally Fitzgibbons end up on top, and they're defending their titles brilliantly. This time Sally a wild card, Filipe Toledo still #1 in the world. Thanks for being with us here on the Corona Post Show. Joe Turpel, Laura Enever, and Peter Mell. Laura, I know you always loved competing in Brazil throughout your career. How does it feel to be back and really digest the opening day of competition?
Yeah, it's so good to be back. I haven't been back to Saquarema since 2017, and I've always had so many amazing memories here in Rio, especially down at Barra, de Tijuca, where the Oi Rio Pro used to be. And yeah, to be back here is amazing. It's been 5 years, so it's just, I've missed the energy, I've missed, you know, just the vibe, the food, everything, really. So
it's really cool looking back on the day, Pete. Wave-wise, we kind of had a little bit of everything from the women first thing in the morning. There was a lot of water moving. Things cleared up for a bit. We saw some barrels, airs, and even some really challenging heats when Medina was out there.
It was a demanding day for these surfers. Each heat changed a little bit, so it wasn't like you could just watch the heat before and go, yeah, I got the formula. You had to go out there and play it on the fly, and all of them did very, very well. We saw some great highlights, and you're going to check it out very soon.
That's right. Well, the last heat was won by Miguel Pupo. He's standing by with Luisa.
Waited the whole day to surf. How does it feel to be in the water with two Brazilians too?
Yeah, it feels nice. It felt like it was, you know, some junior championship that we were out, and yeah, just happy to find some waves, and I was just trying to stay in a good rhythm the whole day, you know, not waste much energy. I was just with my family, so I was happy.
Amazing. And you know these waters pretty well.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take to get you advancing?
It takes a lot of energy, you know. This wave is really powerful, and if you catch a lot of waves, you're gonna get, you know, really tired pretty quick. So it takes a lot of energy. I'm trying to, you know, save myself for the last few days, and just happy to start with the right foot, and surfing well. My board's good, so let's keep going.
A caravana Pupo está em peso em Saquarema, que eu sei. Veio mãe, veio passarinho, veio papagaio, veio todo mundo. Como é que você consegue guardar energia com tanta gente assim para dar atenção?
Legal, tá com a família, com meu pai, com a minha mulher, com as minhas filhas. Elas ficam brincando ali. E eu não penso em nada, só fico concentrado nelas. Depois eu penso no surf e acho que deu certo continuar assim.
Parabéns. A gente se vê aqui, se Deus quiser. I just asked him that the whole Pupo caravan is in Brazil, is in Saquarema. Bird, papagayo, everybody's here. And I was like, how can you keep the energy to surf? And he was like, you know what? I'm just present with the moment, with my family, and then I think about the surf. And it worked out.
Wonderful, Luisa. Thank you so much. Miguel Pupo is a veteran of the tour, 30-plus club these days, and he is surfing better than ever, maybe the best to date. Now that he's a father of 3, he's into his 30s now. He's in the prime of his life, of his career. He used to have up and down losses, sometimes worried about requalification. That's all behind him now, Laura.
yeah, he's having his best year by far in that 10th position, and really gunning for the final 5. He made it clear at the start of the year he wanted to do everything he could to try and give him every opportunity to get to that final 5. So it'd be amazing to see him do it this year. I'd love that. Miguel has just been, you know, charged through the years, and always never given up and fought for his spot on tour. So to be safe and be, you know, making the most of these heats and showing the world how good he is, it's really cool.
Well, I think we're going to stick with the wild card mayhem today in the Corona Post Show. As
Why not?
Let's kick things off with a comeback story for Michael Rodrigues. A couple of years on the championship tour, saw him fall off after 2019. Getting the call up, being the most brilliant surfer in the South American region, and really made that wild card call up really count, especially when he's dealing with Griffin Colapinto fresh off a win in El Salvador, Pete.
Yeah, so true. And you know, he was able to probably step away from competition for a little bit, kind of rededicate his life to what he wanted to, his love and passion, which is just surfing for fun. But now back into competition. We saw his highlights at the Sydney Surf Pro. Was one of the surfers to beat there. Got himself a wild card into this event, and he showcased his talents right here at this Saquarema left-hander at Itaúna. He did very, very well, and it was a close heat, but he took out the win.
Was able to use that big full rote to his advantage, Laura. It didn't seem like there's going to be a lot of sections for that type of move, but if you're Michael Rodrigues, you can do it on any part of the wave.
Yeah, I absolutely loved his attack. This was amazing. A big full rotation. He was just absolutely pumped when he came in, and I loved his post-hit interview. He was just saying how special this was to get the late call-up and to be here. It just felt like he was dreaming, like a very surreal moment.
Oh, what a special moment for Michael Rodrigues, taking the spot of John Florence into the main event, and also getting past Griffin Colapinto on a close decision. Griffin into the elimination round with the single high score. However, Rodrigues knows it takes two, and you've got to make it clear cut. It was a tight decision. Two judges saw Griffin winning that heat. We saw Michael Rodrigues move on to the next round, and his confidence was kind of scary for the rest of the field, Pete, when he came to the locker room.
It's true, and it's not going to get any easier. Going into round 3, he's going to come up against a high seed, and he's going to have to perform once again, and hopefully the waves come to the party.
Exactly. More wild card stories continued. Kelly Slater out. Iago Dora still in. First replacement injury wild card for the WSL in the back half of the season. And Dora returns to the venue. That gave him all his first big highlights on the championship tour. Quick talk from Pops got him in the right headspace as he took control of this heat nice and early, Laura.
Yeah, he really did. Well, this was Kanoa actually getting a tube to start that heat. A big full rotation. Reverse.
Kanoa and Kolohe in this heat, they definitely got barreled, but Iago kept finding these open face lefts. Pete looked incredible.
He did. He didn't get phased by those two nice barrels by Andino. Had the 6.33, Igarashi with the 8 very start back-to-back. You know, he stuck to the left, was able to get two numbers there, a 7.13 and a 6.77, and got himself into that lead and didn't relinquish it because that was tough, because it didn't take much for Kanoa. If he could pick up at like a 6.67, he was going to be able to turn the heat. Didn't happen. Iago just kept it together, surfed solid. We've seen him do well here in Saquarema in the past, so I expect him to have quite a big event.
And looks like he's got all of his weapons. He showed us that with some big airs in El Salvador, but he wants more from the best in the world. 7.13, sending another Final 5 surfer into the elimination round in Kanoa Igarashi. And Kolohe Andino, a place where I thought he was going to really explode, is going to have to work hard from that elimination round to see if he can repeat his success from 2019 where he made the semifinals.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see it all unfold. What a day, hey?
Yeah.
So much good surfing.
And so many different types of waves as well. From the barrels that we saw in that last heat, things look there is going to turn into a barrel shootout. And then things changed gears again and went back to airs and turns, kind of kept people guessing. And as we remember how we started the morning, the Final 5 for the women's side, they're all in the elimination round. There's only 8 surfers in that round. 5 of them are in trouble coming down to September. Someone's going to go down early, Pete.
It's so true, and again, I think that keeps it interesting. You know, Brazil is one of those kind of turning point events where you need to, keep the momentum going. If you start to fall off the pace, it's going to show, especially when you head into J-Bay and Tahiti.
More wildcard talk continues. I was wondering how Sally Fitzgibbons was going to maybe get the call-up or not. She does, and she makes it effective immediately in the opening round. The defending champ from 2019 has the best track record when it comes to competing in Brazil, Laura.
She really does. What a track record she has. And Sally came up against Steph here, but both of these girls just arriving yesterday. Sally was booked for a flight back home to Australia. She just got the call up to get into the event and was like, yep, all right, I'm just going to ditch that flight, and jumped on a flight straight over to Brazil, both getting here yesterday. So putting on an amazing performance in the tricky conditions this morning. But Sally, we know she's just so strong out here. She loves these big, chunky beach breaks. She surfs them a lot back home in Oz, down the south coast. So Sally's always just been able to find the gems amongst the rough, really.
It's just more testament to the warrior that Sally is. You know, even with just a minute notice, she can change her whole life around and show up to compete. Still perfect attendance as she is getting a lot of use out of these wild cards in the back end of the year, Pete.
Well, it's one of those things that surfers actually have to deal with. I mean, it's changing conditions constantly. It's something that you actually become comfortable with. It's like, oh yeah, you get a phone call that you got to go the other place, the complete opposite direction of where you're headed. You can do it, and you can do it in style. I mean, we had to really have a turnaround. I mean, I was on the same flight with Steph and Sally getting here. We had the overnighter. We got here yesterday morning at like 9:30, and you're surfing a competition the exact next day, not really even having a warm-up. The warm-up that you did get was in 2-foot surf, and here we are in 6-foot surf. So it's not going to be easy. And you know what? Sally was able to persevere. Good job. It's
definitely a topic we mention here and there, but it's a big one, especially with 3 back-to-back events. No time to really go home. dealing with jet lag in different time zones, but still trying to compete at 100%. Laura, I know you know what that's like. How's everyone doing with it, this event?
Yeah, I think this was the tightest travel dates. I think a lot of people couldn't change their tickets as well. So, you know, some of the crew getting to finishing up in El Salvador early, they got home to Brazil. A lot of the Brazilians did. And then, you know, everyone else kind of just hanging in El Salvador surfing and not being able to change. But, yeah, you have to adapt. You have to just, you know, you have no choice.
Yeah.
You got to wake up.
You got to do it. And you also have to figure out how, you know, you find tricks of the trade, right? There's ways to get through that jet lag, you know, and you figure out little ways to get the energy up when you need to get it up for that 35 minutes.
Well, we had a couple of surfers do that today when we start thinking about the 51 ice wave of the day. Well, it's a tie. We could have two winners of the exact same score, both going above the lip. It happens to be number 1 and 2 in the world taking the 51 ice waves of the day. Big straight air for the man from West Oz, Jack Robinson, on his version of an 8.17, Laura.
I love that this was a tie. How fun. And this was a huge straight air from Jack Robinson. I do not know how he pushed through that whitewash. You know, we see a lot of guys have their boards break in those reverby moments, but what a huge straight air from Jack. And number 1 in the world, Filipe, happy to be back in Brazil on home turf. He goes for this huge full rotation. Absolutely amazing. Lands in the flat, his first wave here to open up his Oi Rio Pro campaign.
It was interesting. You had Jack going on his first wave, punting on his first maneuver. Yeah, this guy watched exactly that happen. First thing he does, goes out there and does a big rotation. Same score, 51 ice, waves of the day.
I love that. And maybe my favorite straight air of the season. You know, we're starting to think about our best moves we've had all year. You know, from Griffin's rotation in Portugal. You know, we had Iago's backside inverted punt at El Salvador, but a nice, clean, lofty straight air. That had so much height for Jack Robinson today.
Yeah, that was such a cool air to watch. I think as well, like we just saw, you know, a lot of the crew were having hard times finding those sections, but then Jack and Filipe back-to-back heats just went out and just put on the air show. It was really cool to watch, and Jack did another huge air after that. He just came unstuck, but I think we'll see more of that from the men tomorrow in this elimination do or die heat.
That's right, flexing their spots at the top 2 positions in the world. Pete, we almost got into some elimination round heats this afternoon. Called off. Let's bring up the Surfline forecast. What are we expecting for tomorrow?
Well, it's going to be a little decline, but I think we'll still see some surf. So it'll be interesting what the call will be, because when we wake up in the morning, tide's kind of on the lower end. There's going to be some waves. It's going to be kind of clean. So I feel like we could get some heats, maybe some elimination round. I know that the women and the men both going to need a little bit of rest. So if we have that day off and we're kind of worried about trying to run heats, ultimately I think we're going to maybe take a day off. But we'll see, because we'll be down here in the morning. As you look, there's lots of swell coming. You know, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's going to be pumping. Especially Monday when you start to see the winds kind of taper off a bit, and we're going to see some cleaner conditions. Although I would love to see them out there in that 8 to 12 foot surf and a little bit onshore, because we're going to see some big airs.
Oh, and you love big waves.
Yeah, that too.
Any kind of things showing you that we could be running at Bahia? Or do you think it'll be sticking to the setup right out front of Itaúna?
Well, I think Itaúna is going to be the main spot. There is a chance, I think, for the bigger stuff, because the sand over there, it looks pretty average. I mean, I did take a look at it. It doesn't look like it's filled in right there, so it needs to be pretty big for it to be good. Although Lucas Jumbo, local boy here, said, hey, he likes the look of it for the 27th. So, hey, I'm going to listen to the local.
Okay, we'll take it day by day, but it looks like we're going to be moving quickly through those elimination rounds, potentially first thing in the morning. Now on the Corona Post Show, it's time for the Banco do Brasil top 5 of the day. And this is a special treat. Coming in at number 5, this man surfs pipeline. He has a lot of fun, but I was really surprised that he actually had a pretty major wipeout today. Strider earns a spot in the top 5.
This was committed.
A big hobby on his wipeout.
I love that his feet went back in the air when the wave went backwards with the backwash. He just was, it was classic. Oh, good job, Strider.
Thank you so much for putting him in the top 5.
Where was the water patrol on that? He needed some assistance. And coming in at number 4 is Italo Ferreira, backhand, nice and hot, 7.5 for this effort, Pete.
And the Monazul able to honor him with his jersey, and gotta love that. The family loves Italo. We all love Italo, and he went out there and honored him well, especially with this heat win.
Super solid early in the heat, getting a keeper like this, and he was switched on the lefts, got a solid backup for an incredible heat win as he's looking for his first win of the season and his first win of his career in Brazil. Well, the welcome back parade still is happening for Caroline Marks, featuring number 3 on the Banco do Brasil top 5. Laura?
Yeah, she just came out of the gates firing and put on a show with these big backhand turns that we're so used to seeing from Caroline. You know, she was saying that conditions were tricky out there, but she got the jump, and what a way to kick it off. And yeah, welcome back, Caroline. She's well and truly arrived back.
Backhand, maybe the best on tour. The way she frames it up, Pete, it's almost like she's got a right on her forehand. She's looking right at that lip.
Yeah, she's got some great technique, you know, low center of gravity. She looks over that shoulder nicely. She picks her timing good. So congratulations on that heat win.
Peter, number 2, Gabriela Bryan, the rookie, took over today.
She did. She loved these rights, big hooks. It was tough this morning. You saw that there were some adjustments, not knowing really what to surf, the lefts or the rights, you know, the lower tide. But Gabriela was able to find those 2 rights. Not huge numbers, but able to get a jump on that and come in as a low seed and take a win.
Solid performance for this rookie from Kauai. Doing a great job to manage these challenging conditions, Laura.
Yeah, I absolutely loved this wave. She is just not afraid to attack any chunky section. And this is the surfing that got her all the way up into the semi-finals at Sunset Beach and got her back making the cut in Margaret River. She's just any, big chunky right-handers we know she'll attack.
And then Jack Robinson takes over the number 1 spot of the Banco do Brasil top 5. How was the air up there, Pete?
Just a pop. I mean, that was, you see when a big air is done, that was that extra, 1.5 to 2 feet of pop. Jack has that. It was exciting. We hadn't seen a big air early in this event, and he went out there and showed us, showcased what it was. And he got the best, for an international guy, he got the best cheers coming down the beach. So I guess, him and his girlfriend, his wife, actually, it helps his cause here in Brazil.
Well, I think it's something that a lot of people can learn, learning another language. Jack's done that quite well with his Portuguese. He can now get to know people in this amazing country, which is now his second home. Thing was, after that air that he landed, he almost pulled a bigger version of an alley-oop rotation that he just fell down on the landing. Feels like that's going to be a secret weapon in this event. Yeah,
I really agree. And he, speaking to his coach Leandro, he works closely with Iago's dad, and they've got such a good crew here in Brazil and traveling this year. So Leandro was saying that Jack is riding like a heavier glass board, but just a short board, but heavier glass just because it's so chunky and powerful out here at Saquarema.
Pretty exciting year, Pete. Were you prepared for a lot of fresh winners this year? Obviously, Griffin finding victory for the first time. Jack had 1 win last year, but then going back-to-back this season. It's got a whole new narrative to 2022, having some new guys jump in the title race.
It's something that I think happens in every sport, that changing of the guard. We always see it, and we kind of start to happen. We've been calling this one for Jack, but I didn't know we were going to see 2 wins out of him, especially back-to-back like that, but I love it. And a matter of fact, what it's done is just added a little fuel in that tank of his, and he's looking very, very well. Could be a world title year for him.
100%. Laura, Pete, thank you so much for the day.
Thank you, Joe.
Incredible opening day of competition here at the Oi Rio Pro, presented by Corona. We'll be back down here first thing in the morning for the call, as once again our hearts are filled with love for the Zul family. Mano Zul, a big member of our family here on tour, recently passed away. Our thoughts and prayers are with him as we continue to celebrate his life story and the beautiful impact he made on pro surfing. So good to be in Saquarema. So great to be back in the amazing country of Brazil.
Tatiana going left, and we'll see her first number come in, and it's going to be a pretty good one.
Caroline Marks answering back. Quick snap there. Could have a bonus section.
Kind of like a wild ride out there.
Backside snap there for Sally Fitz.
Time for the opening round for the men. Starting things off on the right, Italo Ferreira snap right off the lip.
Best in age for sure, and we have the best fans.
Jack Robinson takes to the sky, and falling from the clouds, Jack Robinson with a massive frontside air.
I don't know, maybe Charles DeBron, Cabello, I don't know.
Right off the buzzer, Filipe Toledo.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.